as you can probably tell from the intro, there's very, very good reason why that is. What I'm going to do is take you out on a walk with me and Obie and fill you in on everything that's been going on. It's a big personal thing that I've gone through, and I know that it will affect other people out there. So even if just one person hears this experience and it helps them moving forward, then that's a good enough reason to share everything that's been going on. I think I should address that if you've watched my videos before, you will notice that the surroundings are very, very different, and that's because Obie and I have moved. We moved into Ryan's house probably about 2 months ago now. So not only did I have surgery, but in the same month I moved. So just decided to do all the stressful life milestones at once. The sun's just come out after a misty morning, so let's get out there and I'll fill you all in on what's been going on with me and my body. So apologies in advance, because this is going to be a very chatty vlog. It all began last May. I've had ongoing gastric issues since I was a teenager, like a lot of people, diagnosed with IBS quite early on. I've been to the GP numerous times about it. Finally, at my wit's end, in immense pain, asked to go and see a specialist. However, fast forward to January this year, 2025, I was at work one day gardening. I was in so much pain that I felt I couldn't carry on working. Rang the doctor and they got me in with a GP I'd never seen before that day. Explained that I was on the waiting list for the gastric specialist. He said, okay, yeah, let's get some tests done for you and I'm going to send you off for an ultrasound. Yeah, that's where it all started. Just as a side note, I wasn't able to walk 5 weeks ago, and I've been walking down to this pond every day since I've been able to. It's changed into a really autumnal little area. I'll have a little break in the story just to show you the pond. See what I mean? It's absolutely stunning. I get an appointment, have the scan, and she instantly says, have you got a fibroid? I didn't know what a fibroid was up until she told me. So a fibroid is a benign tumoral growth that originates within the uterus. I said, not that I know of. Anyway, this lovely, lovely lady then proceeded to tell me that my uterus was the size of someone who was 6 months pregnant, and that it looked like I had a fibroid, and therefore I would need to have more investigative scans. It was a massive shock. I'd gone thinking, oh, they're going to tell me, you know, there's something wrong with my stomach, and it turned out there was something hormonally wrong. Next I'm booked in for a CT scan. So I've never had to go to hospital before, even though I've had health issues over the years. It was relatively manageable. Had the CT scan, to which they realised there was a much larger mass in my pelvis than they had anticipated, and therefore they would need to send me for an MRI. I had an hour-long scan. I was made very, very comfortable. They put music on for me, you know, they made it as nice as it could be. When that came back, it showed that I had 3 giant fibroids. Noisy bird. So the estimated sizes were 10, 12 and 15 centimetres. So the only solution was to have surgery. So there's lots of to and froing. I have to go to gynecology. I meet with one of the consultants' team, and they offer for me to go on a hormonal injection called Zoladex. And the aim of that is to shrink the growths It puts you in a temporary medical menopause. I have 4 of these injections, but the main issue for me was I had hot flushes. Now think about how hot this summer was. And I work outdoors. I was hot. It was very, very hot all summer. So I was going in and having these injections in my stomach right up until the month of surgery, which today, as I'm talking to you, was 5 months ago. Because of the size and I think the amount of fibroids I had as well, I didn't mention that not only did I have the 3 giant ones, but I had multiple fibroids in my uterus as well. So the decision was made to have a hysterectomy. I was completely prepared for it. They'd kind of alluded to that might be a solution on that first scan. It was for the best, it's for my health, and I consistently said to them that my health is the most important thing to me, and therefore if it is necessary, then that is what I will have done. And so yeah, I was put in for the 26th of August to have a subtotal hysterectomy. They took my tubes and my uterus, they left my ovaries and my cervix. Basically then it was just a waiting game. And we get to the day of surgery, so long awaited day of surgery. First one in, met my consultant, answer all the questions, fill out all the forms, get taken down. Ryan was there with me in the morning, get put to sleep, and then the next thing I know was waking up, saying I need a wee, being told that I had a catheter and it's fine, telling them I was really hot, and having a nice cold air put on me, asking what the time was, and it was much, much later than I'd anticipated. So I'd gone in under at 9:05, and when I asked the time it was 2:45. They said, yeah, it's just a little bit more difficult than anticipated. Then I was being wheeled into the ward, into a little side room where I could see Ryan again, and then the consultant came in and just told me basically what had gone on briefly. I asked if those injections had actually shrunk the growth, and she said no. What I had was a midline incision, which is unlike a C-section like they do now, which goes across. Mine goes from my belly button down. I was in hospital for 4 days, 3 nights, and the first time I tried to stand up, I passed out. So it was quite a slow journey basically to getting well enough to go home. I had quite low blood pressure, I couldn't really eat much to start with. The nurses and people that work on the women's ward are absolutely phenomenal. I felt very, very emotional about it for quite a long time at how much care I had at a very difficult and low point in my life, and the fact that they do that every day for so many people is unbelievable. And on that last day, my nurse said, come on, let's get you up, let's get you going. And she was just so kind and positive and caring that arm in arm with her I managed to get up, walk out of the ward, come back and basically start that process of being discharged then. And I'm very, very grateful to every single person that came and looked after me and fed me and took blood and, you know, all that sort of stuff that they do to you. So yeah, I can't really say how grateful I am to all the people that I encountered, because every single person was phenomenal. Come on then. And so then I came home. There you take a few medications home with you. I was signed off for 12 weeks. But because of the nature of my operation, because it was that midline, because of some of the difficulties that there were. So when I said that the surgery was harder than they anticipated. Basically, 2 of the fibroids were kind of normal fibroids, what you'd expect, and the 3rd one was a broad ligament fibroid. Do not ask me sort of the biology of it. And apparently that's much more difficult to remove. Lots of small blood vessels. And then also I had sort of adhesions in my pelvis as well, which were kind of fused to my bowel, which makes all the digestive issues make a lot of sense. I'll put a photo in of how big my belly was just before surgery because it was quite shocking how large my stomach became simply from the growths that were in there, and obviously like inflammation from being poorly. Signed off for 3 months, so we're in week 5, beginning of week 5, and yeah, I'm walking again. I can walk Obie now. I still can't lift anything, so not heavier than really, you know, like the kettle, so I'm not lifting shopping bags or anything like that. Even though I'm healing really well, it's a slow process obviously, and I haven't ran in I think 7 weeks now. I keep reminding myself of everything I've achieved whilst having that all going on inside me, and so I'm excited to see what I can achieve now that I'm, you know, less lumpy. So if anyone out there recognises any of this in themselves, it's not to scare you. Mine was in a sort of extreme situation. Fibroids are very common, and the majority of the time they are absolutely fine. People live with them and don't need surgery. They sometimes don't even come with any symptoms, and if they do, it's very minimal. It's a manageable condition for the most part. But if you do find that you are in a similar position to me, there are loads of different surgical approaches which don't have so much recovery time or way less invasive. So don't worry, it's not out here to scare you, and I'm absolutely fine. I do think that's enough talking. I do think that's enough talking. So Obie and I are gonna enjoy the rest of our walk, and yeah, we'll catch up with you in a bit. Now it comes down to running, training. What's going on with that? The last race I ran was March. That 30k that I'd been working up to, was really excited for and had a wonderful day at. Yeah, things kind of just went downhill from there, to be honest with you. I missed out on so many races and events that I had wanted to do this year. I didn't do any of the 5k series, I didn't do the Hereford Half, I didn't do man versus horse, and obviously I haven't been able to book in to do the marathon. This is still my goal. It's early days at the moment. I can't put a definitive plan in place for how I'm going to train. I already have been thinking about what I would like to do and a time frame of how I would like to do it. I can't really run until 12 weeks of recovery. However, because I feel like I am healing really well, I think possibly I might be able to push that, not in a bad way, in a way that is good for me and my body. Maybe at 10 weeks. If I'm feeling this good at 5 and my body is healing well and I can get signed off by the GP that yes, they think that I'm in a good place in the recovery, then I can start easing myself back into running. As I'm talking now, I haven't run in 7 weeks. So essentially, I'm going to be building back up from scratch. But that's fine. It's all part of an opportunity to surprise yourself, push for goals again. You know, the first time I'm going to be able to run a 5k again in a time that I feel happy with is going to be fantastic, isn't it? So there's lots of positives to look forward to. My general goal at the moment is man versus horse was something I really looked forward to last year. I couldn't do it. That sort of mid-year, if I can get to a point where I can run man versus horse with no kind of time restraint, no real time goal, just being able to run that 7-8 mile at a casual pace. I know it's like tough terrain, but if I can do that, then that's like the high goal. That's the high goal. That's everything's gone right, everything's gone really well. My other goal is to just get back to where I was by the end of the year. So that's like a really easy, realistic one. I would like to be hitting my, PB 5k time, possibly getting a PB in the 10k by the end of the year, getting back to that mentality of we are running the marathon. I'm not setting myself the goal to run the marathon next year. It would be the following spring. So it would be spring 2027. That is only because at the moment I don't know how my body is going to heal long term. Obviously I'm positive that it's all going to be fine, but some people that have had this operation still aren't themselves and still aren't completely healed for up to 12 months. So I'm being mindful that possibly my goals and the things that I'd like to achieve aren't actually achievable in a timescale that I would expect from myself. There is obviously scope to adjust that and to train how my body is fit to train, and I honestly can't wait. I can't wait to be out running again. The weather's still beautiful and I wish that I could be out there, enjoying going out for long runs with Obie in the sunshine and finding some beautiful views. But I'll be back there soon, and essentially what that means is I will be doing my videos again and starting from the beginning. So starting from, this is my first run back. I want to say thank you to everyone that has watched any of my videos up until this point. I really appreciate anyone that's come back after such a long wait, and I really appreciate you all for watching this video. Yeah, if you have heard me talk about running before, you know that it's my favourite thing, and so not being able to do it is frustrating. However, I am incredibly grateful for my body and the fact that it can repair itself after such an ordeal so fantastically, and if I have to rest for that to happen, then I will rest for as long as I need to, but hopefully I will be up and at it in December, if not before. That's probably the next time that you'll hear from me. I really hope that if I've said something that can help or put your mind at ease if you're experiencing anything similar to what I have over the last few years, feel free to send me a message. I mean, I'm not a professional and I'm not an expert in it. I'm just someone that has lived with it. Thanks so much and take care, and yeah, I'll see you soon.